Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another Toonkind at 12 FPS. My name is Avi, and today I will be playing your horrid detective man, Shiro Azumi, who's kind of a dick. Weebin' you. And with me today is the wonderful, the amazing, my dear friend.
Ah, hi, I'm Candlestick, and today I'm going to be playing Dr. Crystal Everlight, who, let's be honest, can also be a bit of a dick sometimes.
I was going to try and say something, but then I decided not to because I couldn't form the sentence without it sounding bad. Anyway, um, just two stand-up people for real. Um, anyway, Dr. Everlight, what are you up to lately?
Mostly she's been up to work, which is been there's been a lot going on at the moment. She generally has been leaving her house like pretty early in the morning and not getting back till pretty late, and spending most of her days somewhere around the university campus depending on what she needs at the time.
You know, I haven't exactly got a good idea of how to get Azumi and Crystal to interact.
Hmm. Yeah, well, I can tell you right now she's not coming looking for Azumi.
Would she, in that case, ever show back up again around Villestown Hospital?
Oh yeah, she did actually visit Aurelia today, actually.
Oh, fun. Huzzah.
Finally, the
Uh,
first time she's been in since the incident, actually.
oh, wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Um, in that case, just a stroke of luck then that Zumi's been passing through the hospital, let's say. Um, okay, wow. My brain just immediately blanked.
That's
Um,
okay. Passing through
is
the
she
hospital.
Yeah, is she doing anything in, particular, or is she just coming in for a visit and that's it?
I think she was just coming in for a visit.
Alright. In that case, how about we both roll perception and see
Fun.
where that gets us?
Sounds good. Ha! Excellent.
Oh my fucking god. First roll of the night. Oh my fucking god, okay.
So that's a 28 from Azumi and a 10 from Crystal. Crystal
Oh
does
my
not
god.
see Azumi.
But Azumi definitely sees, Crystal.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, he would be like this. I think you're probably, walking down the hall, uh, before, you suddenly feel a hand, wrap around your arm. Um, and there is suddenly, a very familiar face at your side, Crystal. And, Azumi is just, all pleasant and smiles as he says, "Ah, Dr. Everlight, do you mind if we have a word?"
Detective Azumi. I'm Sorry, I'm just trying to think like what she would say. If you don't mind, I'm a little busy right now.
With what?
Um, that was mostly an excuse because she is actually, I mean, she kind of is busy, but she's also like, she did clear up her schedule this morning or today in order to come visit Aurelia. So, um, there is like that like open and close of the mouth, and then with my work.
Well, certainly you can spare a little bit of time for an old friend, can't you?
That depends. Are you here to lecture me again?
I'm here to speak with you, Dr. Everlight. Speaking with, implying that I would like to hear what you have to say on the matter.
Hmm. Yeah, okay. That was a decent roll. Um, the she does seem like um guarded, and there's like this like moment of like thinking things through before she will concede with a nod and did you have somewhere in mind?
Well, I hear the hospital gardens are quite nice. Unless you want to go somewhere a bit more secluded.
I suppose the garden shall suffice.
Wonderful. And he gives you a bright grin and kind of just tugs your arm um in that direction. He is leading the way. He hasn't let go.
Yeah, I think that's partially been what kept her like um around and like will at least willing to give the conversation a shot because I think there was this moment of I don't know if things are going to go well if I try and get like like use a different method to get out.
You know what? That's very fair. Either way, I'm half inclined to say that Azumi would have just probably followed after her and talked while they were walking.
Yeah.
He's just like that. Anyway, um, I think yeah, there you the two of you probably like make your way to the hospital garden. I'm not going to call any like very specific descriptions. I just know that inmate probably spends a lot of time here themselves.
Aw.
But it is it is fairly quiet. Not a lot of
Hmm.
people aside from like maybe one or two distant patients enjoying themselves for a little bit.
Yeah,
You know how it
yeah.
be.
Yeah, like those spaces tend to be very like private and quiet and stuff because of what they provide.
Mhm. And Azumi probably brings you to like a little section that's a little shaded. Um um and when you two finally arrive, he lets go of your arm, and he says, "So, work, huh?"
You said work? That's
Yeah,
me.
yeah.
Um, yes, I've had a fair amount to do recently.
Such as?
A lot of cases, um, things like, well, Aurelia and the others' case, um, amongst other things.
other things that you are at liberty to say?
Not all of them, but, well, some that you would be aware of. The aberrations, of course. Um, Sorry, this is me just trying to think. What is it she actually working on that Azumi would be aware of? Um, a few, uh, sorry, this is okay. A few personal things with people, and the overblot, of course, um, to name the ones that you would be aware of.
Hmm. I have to admit, Dr. Everlight, that I don't actually know quite a lot about the overblot. Sorry, about the overblot.
You've not spoken to you? I would have figured he would be the easier person to talk to, considering your proximity.
Mr. Audience has been indisposed as of late. Detective Moria has said that he has been at home lately, unable to come into the office. Did you hear about that?
Um, I don't think she has. Which, like and I think that's fairly clear. That like she does seem surprised and concerned about that. And the that does actually, like, for sort of like the first time this conversation, there is uh her guard is dropping a little bit, and she seems more focused on that than you, um as she's like, I was not aware of that. I'll have to reach out to you, make sure he's okay.
Hmm. Yes, you've been quite busy with your work, but I am surprised that you were busy enough to miss something as important as that.
What is it you're exactly implying?
Ugh. Well, there's no exact nice way to phrase this, unfortunately, but is work all you do, Dr. Everlight?
I do, in fact, do things outside of work, but my job requires me to spend a lot of time on it, yes. Surely, given your field of work, you understand that.
I still make time for my brothers, though.
Alright, I probably should roll for that one. I love you, Crystal. Yep, not hiding that flinch.
Hmm. Alright. Fine. You want me to stop beating around the bush then? What is going on?
You're going to need to be more specific.
What is going on with you, Dr. Everlight? Forgive me for being blunt, but truth be told, I didn't take you for the type to lock themselves away with piles of work.
Uh, I think that actually gets a genuine laugh out of her, like really? You didn't think that? Like she does actually seem a little bit surprised by that, like because she does actually do that. She probably hasn't done it in a while, but oh boy has she done it in the past. Like so it kind of just catches her off guard a little bit, like.
Oh, so you do.
And I don't know how she's gonna respond to that. Like perhaps like uh give me a second to figure out how she would respond. I will admit, it's not the best habit of mine.
Well, at least you're willing to admit that.
Yes, surprisingly enough, I am aware of my flaws.
Hmm. Okay. Then why how does he phrase this? He says, I think what he says is, then have you done anything about it lately?
Hmm. Um, I think oh yeah, she probably would say that. Okay. Um as a matter of fact, I have. There's a reason I stepped away from the chat.
No, you stepped away because I came after you, not because of your flaws. I had to point that out to you.
And I took your advice under consideration and decided that you were correct and took a step back.
And you haven't shown up in the chat lately. Since then. So are you actually improving or are you just hiding?
I am managing my impact on those around me.
You think you can do something like that?
I think it's my
That's
responsibility to try.
I think, Dr. Everlight, that you can be aware of your shortcomings and try to take what others say into consideration, but I don't think it should come at the risk of isolating yourselves from those close to you. Certainly, what you said to Leonardo was not, mm, well, the nicest thing. But it doesn't mean that you have to apologize through self-isolation and immediately cut yourself out from interacting with him.
I was being unprofessional. This is for the best.
Unprofessional. Have you seen that chat room?
Then what
Is
do
it for the
you
best?
want from me?
I want you to tell us when something is wrong instead of laying it into someone else. Do you understand? I do not mean to get angry. I have just seen this happen repeatedly with you, that you will bring up your concerns in the most asinine ways. And for what? I do respect you, Dr. Everlight, but I do not respect the way you have gone about your expressing your concerns with everyone else, especially things that you are quite sensitive about. There are better ways to communicate the things that bother you.
I don't think she has a response to that. Like, I think that like she doesn't know what to say in response to that.
Masks. Goes above.
No, you're right. I
Do not begin to beat yourself up over this, because I swear to the gods, whatever one is listening right now, if one more person starts to berate themselves over this, I will lose it. I am telling you this, Dr. Everlight, because people in that chat room care about you. If there is something wrong, they will want to help you. It
I
is
know.
okay. I'm not quite sure if you know this to be true, Dr. Everlight. I have not exactly seen that kind of reliance outside of necessary actions, such as what happened with Aurelia. It is okay to rely on others for your own issues. Just do not run yourself into the ground over this.
I
There
think
have hmm?
oh, no, keep going.
There are so many individuals in that chat room that have already lost people, and if they lose one more, I'm not sure how well they will take to it.
I I didn't mean I I didn't mean to get attached.
Neither did I. And look at us both.
I don't I don't want to get them involved.
Do you want to know something that I've had to learn the hard way, Dr. Everlight? Whether we want it or not, people are going to get involved anyway. That is the art of caring. And it is incredibly hypocritical to want to help others but not to want them to help you in return.
I know. I know, but that doesn't stop me from I'm really bad at this.
Don't take it from someone else who is really bad at this. It does not get any easier. There's probably like a bench nearby, and he's just gonna take a seat right there.
Mm. Yeah, I think she'll follow. I think she probably does. Sorry. It does take her a
Excuse
moment
me.
of like I think just sort of like lost in thought a little bit to register what he's done, but then will probably follow kind of thing because I think she wants to sit down, honestly.
No, that's fair. Hard to stand up under all that pressure.
Yeah, yeah. In fact, she probably just like buries her face in her hands, like, I don't know what to do.
I'll tell you a secret. I really did not want to get that attached to Camille, because I was so afraid that he would end up hurt because of me. And I still don't know why he's stuck around this long. But yes,
And has he gotten hurt because of it?
he kind of frowns kind of thoughtfully, like he's thinking about it, and he's just like, if he's gotten hurt because of it, it's because I asked him to help me. But I don't think he minded out either way. Whatever happens, sometimes you just have to let them help you. The worst case scenario will not always happen simply because it is the worst case scenario.
But neither will the best case.
Sometimes mediocrity is fine. Living in a world of perfection ruins the point of living in it. Don't you think? There's no room for change and growth that way.
Um, would you like to roll an insight?
Yeah. It's been a while. It's been a while, homies. It's a low for him, but the modifier is still kind of stupid.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a moment of she doesn't respond straight away, but there's a moment of like surprise, and then she has definitely heard something like that before, and then God, needs to stop getting into situations where she's hearing things that she's heard before. Like that's kind of like passing across her like face right now is just like this sort of sense of frustration of, yeah, I know this. Why am I back here? And I think she just responds with, I know.
Hmm. God, he handed me like two different things at once. And I'm trying to figure out what he says first. Give me a second.
Oh good, oh good.
Well, I take it from that. Look, you've had this discussion before.
Uh yeah, it's was not my finest hour.
Well, in any case, the lesson will repeat itself until it sticks. Hard to forget about it that way.
I am trying. Does that count for anything?
Hmm, of course. Trying is how anything gets done here. Though it depends on how. Trying all on your own only gets you so far. That's the point of this conversation. Reliance on others is not a crutch, it can be beneficial.
I just I don't know how much that other people can do. There are I no, I'm not saying that they're not capable. I know perfectly well that pretty much everyone in the chat is incredibly capable in their own right, but there are some things that there's not much that can be done, and some things that are my area of expertise only, and I what do I do in those cases?
Have you ever asked?
opening and closing her mouth again. That's your answer, Azumi.
Really, sometimes the answer is simple as just asking. You know, what a person might be capable if a person is capable. If there isn't, then maybe you can ask elsewhere.
I think there's just like actually that's funny. What she just handed me, the like there's this like moment of like kind of yeah, okay, I've heard that before as well. And then just like kind of a bit of a half-hearted glare and you're not gonna badger me about getting an assistant, are you?
Do you want me to?
No.
He kind of smiles at that. Well, so long as you aren't drowning in your work.
Mm.
How about that? You make the effort to try and ask for help a little more often, and I won't badger you about assistantships.
All right, that sounds like a fair deal.
Wonderful.
Mm.
Hmm.
I think she's sort of quiet for a bit, just thinking, and then I think she's gonna ask, "How are the others after all that?"
He kind of shrugs and says, fine. Worried about you, but fine.
That wasn't my intention. I
Things happen beyond the scope of our intentions, but that's part of living, part of damage control. Have you ever played billiards?
I don't believe so. No. Is that
It's.
actually I need a roll history for her.
Oh no!
All right. Yeah, no, that's high enough. She knows what billiards is. Like I think there was that uncertainty of the like that's the one with the sticks and the balls and
He nods and he nods and he's just, alright, that's enough to know for this analogy at least. When you strike the cue ball and try to get a ball to sink into one of the pockets, no matter what, more often than not, you are going to hit an unintended object. Actions reverberate beyond the scope of our intentions. That's sort of the point of actions.
hmm. I think she's just gonna close her eyes and that doesn't mean I have to like it.
Oh, certainly not. Masks knows I don't either.
Uh, there's a reason I didn't interact with people for years. Why do
Yes.
why do they have to be so complicated?
He kind of looks almost amused, but like also sympathetic.
Yeah, it's just that I understand books, I understand theory, I understand a lot actually about the theory of how things work and how and pattern recognition and knowledge, and I don't understand people.
People aren't things to be meant to be understood in their entirety. You know, we have this belief in Yedo, a belief of many selves contained in the one true self. A billion different versions of one person. You only ever get to see a fraction of that whenever you interact with someone. But that's the point. People behave differently in many different situations. You can understand the situation and understand how a person might react, but the masks they wear are just part of the equation, if you can even call it an equation.
Mm. That's hmm, a fairly apt way of putting it, I suppose.
Hmm. If you can't understand a person, at least try to understand why they might react a certain way. Because the mask they're wearing in that moment has a reason.
No, that makes sense, I guess.
It's a bit complicated either way.
Hmm, quite.
At least take solace in the fact that one small bit of understanding will mean a lot to someone.
This is in relation to the fight, correct?
In relation to a lot of things. I'll be honest, Dr. Everlight, I'm not exactly good with teaching the life lessons. I've been on the receiving end of it for the past who knows how long. But I have been in your exact shoes right now. People aren't a puzzle to be solved. You're only looking at one facet of a whole diamond, so to speak.
I wouldn't have pegged you as having the same issues. But
You
I
seem
suppose
rather.
that does match up with what you're saying. Hmm.
You, s- mm,
No, no, I was just trying to think of things to fill the thing, so you go.
you seem rather perfection driven.
I suppose that's one way of putting it.
Well, on the surface level, I can understand. Being a doctor means that you can't take that many risks unless you want a patient to make it through whatever it is that they're dealing with. But how should I put it? It seems a lot more ingrained with you.
If I make a mistake, then it hurts other people. It's not something I can afford to take lightly.
You know, you're not the only one who makes mistakes like that. You're not the only one in a position like that.
That doesn't change the consequences or the outcome.
Just because you make a mistake doesn't mean that people are going to hate you forever.
Okay. uh, there's a there's another hmm. Yeah, I should probably roll again for that. Oh good. Yeah. Yeah, that tracks.
Oh.
Uh there's a another wince and um a I hmm, I know that, and yet mhm, they still can.
Do you mind if I ask you something at the risk of being a bit personal?
I well, you are a detective, and I've tended to find that they tend to be a bit nosy into people's personal business. That is a bit of a joke. She is giving you permission.
You seem, how do I put it, rather bothered by Aurelia's situation. Would it be reasonable to assume that you also have issues with your family?
I Reasonable, yes. I've not exactly had. My relationship with my family has been complicated. There's a lot that Aurelia has gone through that I suppose struck a little bit close to home.
And he nods. And he says, strained relationship with a sibling, daddy issues, and complicated feelings towards a mother.
That about sums it up, yes. And I cannot say that I myself particularly made the situation better. In fact, in many cases, I made it worse.
And
And it's been improving more recently. But old wounds linger.
that's the issue with scars, isn't it? They don't truly go away.
No, they do not.
You would know that, wouldn't you? You're a doctor.
Yes, I've seen a lot. Things that have gotten better and things that have gotten worse. And, well, I cannot say that I myself am immune from those lessons either.
And that's okay. That just means you're alive.
Hmm. I'm just trying to think how she would respond to that. Yeah, okay. I think that she might actually um she might like look at him curiously and speaking from personal experience.
God. His head kind of tilts up and he says, I don't have a lot of biological family to speak of, Dr. Everlight. The majority of them are dead, and those that aren't are in jail.
Hmm. Sounds like you had worse luck than I did.
Don't even get me started. The only reason I became a detective was because I wanted to find the man who ruined my mother's life.
Did you?
I did. I ruined myself in the process, Dr. Everlight. I do not want you to go through that.
I went into my field of study to try and save my mum. But I couldn't. So now I try and save other people.
He's quiet for a very long moment. God, sorry.
No,
He's
that's
not
fair.
he's not an openly emotional person, which means I get his tears that he would have. So give
Aw.
me a second.
Okay, it's okay. Take your time. This is a really heavy topic that they've gotten onto.
Yeah. Give me a second. Okay. I think what he ends up saying, and it's a little hard to tell if he's saying this to Crystal or just out loud, just saying it.
Mm.
He just kind of says, "The loss of our mothers was not our fault."
Mm. I think she's gonna nod and like think for a moment and then some days are harder than others to believe that.
Oh wow, okay. He doesn't really say anything out loud, but I think what he does do is like just place a hand on Crystal's shoulder,
Hmm.
kind of like a solidarity kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah. You know what the hardest thing about this is?
Hmm.
Having to fight myself in order to move forward.
No, that is quite honestly the hardest part, and in some cases the most ridiculous. Your biggest critique is yourself and all that. But I think that does speak merit to the fact that you're trying.
Mm. Thanks. It's nice to be reminded that it's true, even if it doesn't always feel like it.
I'll be here to remind you of it whenever you need it.
I think she does laugh a little bit like at that and the Oh no, I can tell you are not the sort to stand by and not call someone on their bullshit.
Oh, really? You noticed?
Hmm, kind of smacked me in the face with that knowledge last time.
Sorry, that laugh was in character. Truth be told, I don't feel the need to apologize for that because I think it was necessary at the time, but I will apologize for the aftermath of it.
Well, I suppose I'm sorry that I pushed you to that result in the first place.
Hmm. He kind of shrugs and says, I've been pushed to far worse.
Me too. I don't know if I can go back just yet.
Something else on your mind then?
And this is where I roll something to see whether she. Because this actually might be the first time that she's considering bringing this up herself rather than it being found out from her.
Ooh.
Ah, no, there's a hesitance there. Something's holding her back.
Dr. Everlight, I did just spill to you part of my tragic backstory. I
Sorry.
No, you're fine. Was you? Um, whatever you have to say, I can guarantee you it's probably not as bad as anything I've been going through or have gone through.
That's not it. And I. Comparing trauma is hardly the appropriate response. I've seen enough to know that is true.
Mhm.
There's more to my current actions than I will admit I've been honest about.
Mm. He kind of straightens up at that.
And how would she say this? I think she probably pauses, like trying to figure out what to say, and then I think what she eventually settles on is, you said you didn't know much about the overblot cases.
No, I don't.
How much do you know?
God, I don't even actually remember what was said in chat. Give me a second.
All good, all good.
Yeah, I think he only knows the symptoms.
Mm.
Yeah.
So like a general like symptoms list
Yeah.
and
Mhm.
probably broad strokes of what it is.
Sort of. There was never like a full description of what overblot is. I think he just knows that it's a parasitic uh ink kind of thing that feeds on magic
Hmm.
and the symptoms of that basically.
Hmm. You want to roll a history for him maybe or an intelligence or
Yeah.
something?
Yeah, I'll just that's a same modifier for both of those. I'm just gonna roll. What the fuck? For this? My dude? Sir?
Oh dear, this is either really good or really bad.
He got a nat 20 for this!
Oh my god. Yeah.
Okay, he was never explicitly, like, told personally, like, what it was. He just knows basically what was said in the chat, and he knows, excuse me, that a few people, uh, close to, Camila Leonardo, including Jubilee and, Minami, and I don't know if he knows about Quinn.
Hmm.
He just knows that they were out of commission for a while because of it. I
Hmm.
don't think he knows exactly what it does, especially
Yeah.
at the point of overblotting.
Yeah, that's fair. But he does have the symptom list. And hey, yeah, no, some of those might be matching up. Um
I think he just goes, "You're infected."
yes.
Okay. It would be nice to know any way of minimizing spread.
I've
You were
been
using hmm?
taking precautions.
You were using quite a bit of magic in that demi-plane.
Unfortunately, it was necessary though. I've been trying to limit my use where I can.
No, I don't blame you for that. You do understand that I don't believe it would be wise to leave you out. How do I put this? I don't believe it would be wise to leave you on your own because of this. There have been multiple cases already of people being incapacitated for a number of days as a result.
Of the, yes, the overblotting case, the, sorry, uh, the overblotting itself, it's, uh, yeah, I'm aware. I've been talking to you about it.
As much as that has been doing, considering you didn't know he was working from home lately.
No, I will need to check up on him. That's concerning. Regardless, I've been doing my best to mitigate as best I can the mm, symptoms and effects of it and minimizing its progress as best I can.
As best you can. He kind of rubs a hand against his face. And he's just, "Oh, it would be nice to know what you does. Sorry, what audience does."
Well, he does seem to be obviously knowing his situation. He obviously has the most information on the topic. But he does seem to have more knowledge about it as it comes up as well. That's kind of how I've been managing to keep informed. I've been looking into a way to get rid of it without the person having to completely overblot.
I don't know what that means.
Right. Okay. It's it's a magical parasite, correct?
Yes.
It feeds on magic. It
Yes.
induces that by pulling on the negative emotions of its host in order to try and get them to use more.
All right. Okay.
Eventually, that culminates in enough where it has fed enough that it uh, is able to physically take form.
Ah.
There is I have not been involved in that aspect. This is all secondhand from you and others involved in the cases that have occurred. Um, but there is usually a fight, and a um, the person's. This is probably better to talk to you about, but there's a um, ink space that is created from people who are overblotted that is required to be resolved. That's how you gets pulled in most of the time. Um, and then the person is, well, free from the parasite, but generally left in a incredibly weakened state afterwards.
Hmm. Sorry, I immediately I was going to say something and then immediately got distracted because Maki just came and sat right next to me and meowed at me.
Oh,
Bless you. I'm not sure if you heard that, but she started sneezing.
it was
um
cute.
um he kind of I think first I'm gonna have him roll a deception because there was something about that description was very familiar to something else. So I'm gonna do that real quick.
Mhm.
Bullshit. Bullshit rolls once again.
Yeah, I can't reach that. There's no way I'm reaching that. So I'm not gonna even bother.
But he is kind of silent for a moment. Before he just kind of like looks. He does this kind of like the best way I can describe this expression is like the prayer hands without the prayer hands itself.
Yeah,
he, he looks so exasperated.
yeah. Crystal's expression is yeah.
I'm starting to realize that Vilstown plots aren't just detective work. It is also whatever the fuck you call this.
Hmm. I'm just trying to think like what would actually be like the technical term for that. Like I want to say something like plot induced magical therapy or something like that.
It would be so funny if you said that. Oh my god. I would love that. Actually, I love that.
I think that she does say that like yeah. Plot induced magical therapy.
Let's go with that. He kind of like pinches the bridge of his nose, and he's just, well, you said that you're trying to look into ways to prevent overblotting itself, right?
Yes, it's the only known method of being able to get rid of it currently. But as you can probably tell, it's not particularly a very safe way about going about it for either for anyone involved. And then there's also the fact that it won't work for you.
For you, for audience.
Yes, due to circumstances surrounding his particular case.
That's something to interrogate him about, I suppose.
Yes, I don't particularly want to go into more detail. I feel like that's something that he should be the one to tell you if he wants to.
Right, yes, no. That's perfectly understandable. I think this is a scenario of preparing for the worst and hoping for the best in that case.
Quite.
I mm, I do not, at the risk of sounding like a broken record, I do not think it's a good idea to leave you on your own when you are like this.
I hmm, cannot stop working just because of this. I'm.
Can,
There are other
can
people that are aware.
is it mm, is it possible to have them nearby while you work, or at least, I don't know, call away.
Hmm. Uh, well, I have already promised to inform should um things get worse. Um, and some of them, I am sure, have methods of keeping tabs on me themselves.
Right. Right. Okay. Just don't do anything reckless, please.
I am trying my best.
Okay. And I'm just going to have to accept that as an answer.
Yeah, you and me both.
Hmm. Sorry, all I can think about right now, all that's in my head is Azumi just going, "Why the fuck did nobody tell me about this earlier?"
Yeah, well, I mean, to be fair, I'm surprised she even got to the point where she was willing to bring it up herself. But Azumi was very convincing.
Yeah, he does that. He's very good at getting the information he wants.
Yeah. Uh,
Right, then, gods above.
I would appreciate if you didn't tell the others about this.
I hmm, I can try. But if your well-being is on the line when it comes down to it, Dr. Everlight, I'm going to do what I have to in order to help you. I want you to understand that.
No, no, that's fair. That's sort of the response I've gotten from the others who have found out.
Just as a, I suppose, precaution, who does know at least?
You knows. Um,
Mm.
the professor also
Oh, of course he
knows.
does.
Hmm. Yes, he only found out recently.
Mm.
Um, and Detective Lin knows.
Right. Okay. Okay. Okay, that's fine.
And now yourself.
Yes. Whatever happens, Dr. Everlight, You are going to get through this one way or the other. In one piece.
Well, that is certainly my preferred outcome.
Of course. I'm saying that as reassurance. I'm sure you've noticed by now I'm not exactly the greatest at doing that.
Well, I can relate to that. I appreciate the
Well,
sentiment.
mm, good. Quite honestly, it's a bit frightening that we can even relate on that much, but it is what it is. I think he's going to stand up now.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I think, yeah, Crystal will follow is um I think actually she might like there's like a bit of a like that like kind of um like, very dry kind of humor of I don't know. I think we're both very functional and capable adults.
That's certainly a phrase for it. One way to describe us.
Completely normal, non-dysfunctional experts in our fields.
There's certainly nothing wrong with us.
Uh, thank you.
Of course. I did say
Unfortunately,
I. Oh,
no, you go first.
I did say I respect you, Dr. Everlight. I do mean that.
Likewise, as hard as it was to hear, you are someone that I respect and someone whose opinion and thoughts matter to me.
I suppose that puts us on even footing.
I suppose it does. How did we get here?
Well, if I remember right, I did have to grab you by the arm.
Yeah, I been told that I can be stubborn.
Hmm. I wonder why.
uh, let's be honest, neither of us got to where we were because we're not stubborn in our own rights.
You certainly got that right.
For better or
Try
for
to take
worse.
care. Hmm. Do try to take care of yourself.
I'll do my best. And you too.
Hmm. I'll do what I can.
Suppose that's all we can ask for.
In the end, sometimes what we can is just enough. I
Yes.
look forward to speaking with you again.
Hmm. I suppose it is. Likewise, detective.
I think That's a good place to end off.
Yeah, yeah. Unfortunately, Crystal probably does need to get back to work because
Mm,
she does have a lot to do.
yeah.
But and I'm sure Azumi does as well. But yeah, that went surprisingly well.
I am so glad.
I know. I know, me
Oh
too.
god. We're so worried of this going so badly.
Oh, yeah, especially at the start where it's just like you could feel the tension between their words.
Whew.
And I don't know where that stopped and where that changed, but it did, and I'm so happy that it did.
Oh, yeah, god. But in
Uh,
any case, thank you so much to our listening audience, both now and in the future. We are going to
Yee.
bid you all a good time zone.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.